What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel. Today on the Hard Count, we're going to tell you who the candidates are for Oklahoma's next head football coach. Welcome into CFB with JD, the people's channel for all things college football content on YouTube. Y'all drive the show. Armstrong, Sims, and Jack McKenzie. Well, they do the heavy lifting. So listen, Oklahoma, they need a new head coach, right? One of the biggest jobs in all of football, not just college football, all of football became open the other day when Lincoln Riley said deuces, in turn, fight on, both the same sign. Kind of interesting how that works. Anyway, he's out. He's out at Oklahoma, and that's the deal. So Oklahoma, like I said, is now a vacancy, which is going to be attractive for a lot of suitors. And I just want to go ahead and break this down. What's the wish list if you're a Sooner fan? It's Christmas. It's about to be time for some stocking stuffers. What are you going to find under the tree? What do you want to find under the tree for your next head coach? And I'll just start with this. Splashy. You just lost one of the most iconic coaches in college football, one of the most iconic coaches, I think, in all of football, quite honestly, one of the greatest offensive minds. You want someone who's going to keep recruits in the boat, right? You want a big name, someone's going to turn heads. You're going to get that alert from Bleacher Report at The Athletic, maybe Sick'em 365, depending on what service you subscribe to, what push notifications you have on. You want a big name. Second, you want a great football mind. Whether it's offense, whether it's defense, you need someone that's going to hone your edge as you move into the SEC. You can't come in here with a wishy-washy identity. We'll figure it out. We'll do a little bit of everything. No, hone your edge, own your edge, and then be able to compete in the SEC. That's going to be crucial. Again, whether it's offense like Lincoln Riley, whether it's defense like, we're going to go down this list here. Brent Venables, a little bit of a cheeky tip of our hand right there. You need someone who's going to have an edge they are going to continue to hone and own. Third, a great recruiter. And this is more important, I think, as Oklahoma moves into the SEC. Recruiting is important for any conference you're in, but in the SEC, it's when you really go toe-to-toe with some of those powers, because now you're recruiting against guys like Nick Saban, against guys like Brian Kelly, against guys like a Billy Napier, who's recruited well to get where he's at right now, obviously, and what he did at Louisiana. So you need to be a great recruiter. You need to get the right guys on board. Oklahoma's been able to do that. They'll be able to do that on their brand alone, but having the right guy at the helm is going to allow them to be where they want to be in the upper tier of the SEC. So without further ado, like I mentioned, Brent Venables, he should be your number one guy. I actually fell for a report on Twitter from a fake Bleacher Report account that said Brent Venables was already on the plane to Norman to get hired, and this was like hours after Lincoln Riley had already been hired at SC and was out of Norman. He has Oklahoma ties, was the defensive coordinator there from 99 to 2011. He has waited his turn to be a head coach, y'all. Like Brent Venables, he's had time to be a head coach. He could have taken jobs multiple times throughout his career at Clemson. Brent Venables, if you don't already know, is the defensive coordinator at Clemson and has called an amazing defense there for years now. But I think it's his time. And Paul Catalina on the Big 1-2, which comes out tonight, I believe, or maybe it's already out by the time you're watching this, so go check that out. He said, if Brent Venables doesn't take the Oklahoma head coaching job, then I don't really know if he wants to be a head coach. And I think that's exactly true, because Brent Venables, like I mentioned, has had a lot of opportunities, could have left many a time before, but this is the place where he has the most history, has the most ties, would be welcomed with open arms in Norman. He would definitely have that edge that you want to have, your identity, your edge that you would own. Defensive guy, would get back to the dog mentality, the basics, and he would recruit well. He's already recruited well at Clemson, got the guys in there to have one of the best defenses in the country year in and year out. A little bit of a different story this year. I think he's a perfect fit to take to the SEC. Next, and this is kind of a high risk, high reward, Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin would be the offensive mind, would be a very attractive hire from just a headline standpoint. He's recruited in the SEC before. He's recruiting in the SEC right now, currently having Ole Miss do phenomenal things. They're top 10 in the country right now. Lane Kiffin would be a very, very splashy hire. And I know there's mixed reviews on Lane Kiffin. That's probably a nice way to put it. You either love him or you hate him. But Lane Kiffin, for all it's worth, could be a home run hire, or he could be a famine-like hire. So high risk, high reward with Lane Kiffin. I think it's great. I think if you look at his recent track record, what he did at FAU, what he's doing at Ole Miss, revamped his image, has learned a lot along the way. I am pro Lane Kiffin, and he would be, I think, not a bad fit at all in Norman and would definitely keep some recruits in the boat. Third, this guy's already been identified as a target for Oklahoma. He's not really talking about it too much, but that's head coach for the Arizona Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury. The biggest thing that I'm attracted to with Cliff Kingsbury, not just his good looks, because he's got a nice little 5 o'clock shadow going, one of the most iconic good-looking guys in all of football. We're just going to call it as we see it here on the hard count. But Cliff Kingsbury, a phenomenal offensive mind. So you know, if you're a recruit, you come to Oklahoma, you're playing for a guy who's been in the NFL, who's coached Heisman Trophy winners, but then they transferred away at Baker Mayfield, coached guys that eventually went on to win a Super Bowl at Patrick Mahomes. You see what I'm saying here? He's been around football greats. He's got the NFL pedigree. I don't know that he wants to be a recruiter. The verdict's still out on that. But Cliff Kingsbury would be a very splashy hire, has the offensive edge you would want, the identity you would want, and I think would just be a phenomenal get for Oklahoma. We'll see if he really wants it. But again, Oklahoma, according to Adam Schefter, has already identified him as a target. As we go down the list here, these last two I think are probably less likely gets, but we're going to talk about them anyway because they'd be great gets. Mario Cristobal, head coach at Oregon, I think you at least got to call him. You at least got to call him, pitch him the job, tell him to give him whatever he wants, which you still might not be able to outbid Oregon, but tell him you give him whatever you want and make him say no to the job. Because Mario Cristobal, if you look at what he's done at Oregon, he's made them a completely different team. Before you think about Oregon, these flashy teams, cool uniforms, which they still have, but they were speed. They were lightweight, like aerodynamic kind of teams that would just go fast, and win that way with their edge. Now they're a physical team. You got a former offensive line coach in Mario Cristobal reestablishing a culture, identity at Oregon. If he brought that to Oklahoma, I think that would serve them very well in the SEC. You got to win in the trenches in the SEC, and Mario Cristobal would establish an edge in the trenches, and I think he would be able to recruit really well to Oklahoma as well as he has done at Oregon. Finally, this is probably a longer shot, but again, it's Oklahoma. You got the money. You got a big bat. You got a great job. Let's swing that bat for the fences and get Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for Kansas City, an NFL pedigree guy. He's been in the college game before, not as a head coach. He's been a position coach in the college game. I don't know if he would even be interested in Oklahoma, but for the right price, you can get anybody to listen to you. You hear what I'm saying, Oklahoma? So same thing with Kingsbury, a great NFL pedigree. It'd be hard to assume that recruits wouldn't at least listen to someone like that who's coached in Super Bowls and called games for guys that are like Patrick Mahomes, for example. I mean, you've seen what his offenses can do. It's hard to think that wouldn't be attractive to recruits and that wouldn't be attractive to people at Oklahoma. I get the college game and NFL game are very different, so that's up for debate. Again, I don't even know if he takes your call, but if you throw enough dollar signs his way, you might be able to get him on the phone for a minute or two. And hey, maybe, just maybe, you hit a home run and get Eric Bieniemy as your next head ball coach in Norman. So that's it for us here at the Hard Count. Again, the wish list, descending order. We'll go 5-1. Eric Bieniemy, Mario Cristobal, Cliff Kingsbury at 3, Lane Kiffin at 2, your number 1 guy, without a doubt, should be Brent Venables. Bring him back to Norman. The party will continue to roll on. We do a video here nearly every single day, so subscribe to the channel. We will see y'all next time.